You think silence means weakness, don't you? That when you don't respond, don't defend yourself, don't explain, somehow you've lost. I used to believe that too, until I realized something disturbing. Every time you react emotionally, you give people access to your mind. Every time you argue, you hand over your power. And every time you try to prove yourself, you quietly admit that you're not enough. But what if the real power was never in what you say, but in what you choose not to say? Marcus Aurelius once wrote that the strongest man is not the loudest, but the one who governs himself. And yet, no one teaches you how dangerous your own voice can be. Hello everyone, welcome to the Mind Awakening channel. In this video, you'll discover 10 moments where silence doesn't make you weak. It makes you untouchable. But be warned, once you see this, you won't be able to unsee it. Now let's get started. Situation number 1. When you are being provoked, there will be moments when someone tries to pull you down to their level. Subtle insults, passive-aggressive comments, or direct confrontation designed to make you react. Most people take the bait. They defend, argue, raise their voice, and lose control. But what they don't realize is this: the moment you react emotionally, you've already lost the frame. Silence in that moment is not weakness. It's psychological dominance. It says, you don't have access to my inner world. It forces the other person to sit alone with their own aggression, with no fuel to keep it alive. Marcus Aurelius believed that the best revenge is not to become like your enemy. Sometimes the strongest move is to say nothing and walk away with your power intact. Situation number 2. When you're misunderstood, few things trigger us more than being misunderstood. You want to explain yourself, correct the narrative, make sure people get who you really are. But here's the uncomfortable truth: not everyone deserves an explanation. The more you try to clarify yourself to someone committed to misunderstanding you, the more you drain your own energy. You speak, they twist your words. You explain, they hear what they want. Silence, in this case, becomes self-respect. It's the quiet decision to stop performing for an audience that has already judged you. You don't need to be understood by everyone to be at peace. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is let people misunderstand you and keep moving forward anyway. Situation number 3. When you're angry, anger feels urgent. It demands expression. It convinces you that if you don't speak now, you'll explode. But anger is rarely honest. It's reactive, impulsive, and often regrettable. Words spoken in anger don't just disappear. They linger. They damage trust. They reshape how people see you. This is where silence becomes a form of discipline. Instead of reacting, you pause. You let the emotion rise and fall. You create space between what you feel and what you do. That space is where control lives. Stoicism teaches that you are not your emotions. You are the one who observes them. And sometimes, mastering yourself means choosing silence when every part of you wants to speak. Before we continue, let me ask you something simple. Have you ever stayed silent in a moment where you really wanted to react and later realized it was the best decision you could have made? Drop your answer in the comments. I'd really like to hear your perspective, and it might help others see things differently too. And if this video is speaking to you, take a second to subscribe to the channel. It helps support the journey and gives us the motivation to keep creating deeper, more powerful content for you. Now, let's continue. Situation number 4. when someone insults you. An insult is a test, not of your worth, but of your control. Most people react instantly. They defend their ego, fire back, try to win. But in doing so, they reveal something deeper. They are easily shaken. Silence, on the other hand, creates confusion. It removes the reaction the other person was expecting. It forces them to confront the emptiness of their own words. Not every insult deserves a response. In fact, most of them don't. Because when you truly know your value, you don't feel the need to protect it in every conversation. Silence becomes a shield, not to hide, but to show that nothing said from the outside can penetrate what you've built within. And sometimes the most powerful reply to disrespect is no reply at all. Situation number 5. When you are winning, quietly. There's a temptation to announce your progress, to show people you're improving, succeeding, becoming something more. But the moment you start seeking validation, you dilute your focus. Talking too much about your plans or achievements often replaces the need to actually live them. You get a small dopamine hit from being seen instead of doing the real work. Silence, in this case, becomes protection. It protects your energy, your momentum, your direction. You move in the dark, you build without noise, and by the time people notice, the result is already undeniable. Not everything needs to be shared. Not every step needs an audience. Sometimes, the strongest growth happens in silence, where no one is watching, and nothing can distract you. Situation number 6. When you are dealing with ignorance, you will meet people who are not looking to understand, only to argue. They interrupt. They twist facts. They speak loudly, not wisely. And if you engage, you get pulled into a battle that has no end and no value. Silence here is not surrender. It's discernment. It's the ability to recognize when a conversation is not a bridge, but a trap. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to, because not every opinion deserves your attention. Not every voice deserves your response. True intelligence is not shown in how well you argue, but in how wisely you choose when not to. And sometimes, walking away silently is the highest form of wisdom. Situation number 7. When you feel the need to prove yourself. There's a subtle pressure in life to prove your worth, your intelligence, your success. To show people you're not who they think you are. But the more you try to prove yourself, the more you become dependent on their perception. Silence breaks that cycle. It says, I don't need your approval to exist. I don't need your validation to move forward. When you stop explaining yourself to everyone, something shifts. You become grounded, centered, unshaken. Because your identity is no longer built on what others believe about you, but on what you know to be true. And that kind of confidence doesn't speak loudly. It moves quietly. It acts consistently. And it lets results do the talking. Situation number 8. When you're facing criticism. Criticism can feel like an attack, even when it's not. Your first instinct is to defend, to explain, to correct every detail. You want to protect your image, your effort, your intentions. But not all criticism is meant to destroy you. Some of it reveals you. Silence, in this moment, gives you something rare. Perspective. Instead of reacting, you listen. You observe. You separate what is useful from what is noise. Because if the criticism is valid, silence allows you to grow without resistance. And if it's not, silence protects you from lowering yourself to unnecessary conflict. Not every critique deserves a defense. Some deserve reflection. Others deserve nothing, and the wisdom lies in knowing the difference without needing to announce it. Situation number 9. When you're in pain, pain has a voice. It wants to be heard, expressed, released, and sometimes that's necessary. But there are moments when speaking too soon turns pain into identity. You repeat the story, relive the emotion, and unknowingly deepen the wound. Silence here is not suppression. It's processing. It's allowing yourself to sit with the discomfort without rushing to explain it to the world. In that quiet space, something powerful happens. You begin to understand your pain instead of being controlled by it. Stoicism teaches that suffering is not just what happens to you, but how you interpret it. And sometimes, healing doesn't come from speaking louder, but from sitting quietly until clarity replaces chaos. Situation number 10. When it's time to move on. There are endings in life that don't come with closure. No final conversation, no perfect explanation, no satisfying goodbye. And the hardest part? You want to say something. One last message, one last attempt to be understood. But silence, in this moment, is acceptance. It's the realization that not every chapter needs to be explained to be closed. Silence allows you to walk away with dignity. No begging, no chasing, no final words to justify your worth. Just a quiet decision. I've learned what I needed, and now I move forward. And sometimes, the most powerful ending is the one you never announce. Conclusion. Silence was never about saying nothing. It was about mastering yourself. In a world that constantly pushes you to react, to speak, to prove, to defend, choosing silence is a quiet rebellion. It means you are no longer controlled by every emotion, every opinion, every external trigger. You begin to move with intention, not impulse. The deeper lesson here is simple but not easy. Power is not in controlling others. It's in controlling yourself. Start applying this today. The next time you feel the urge to react, pause, observe. Ask yourself, is this worth my energy? You'll be surprised how many battles were never meant to be fought. Silence doesn't make you weak. It makes you precise. It makes you aware. It makes you free. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. Your support is what keeps this journey alive, and there's so much more depth we're about to explore together. Now, the real work begins with you. Thank you for taking the time to watch until the end of the video. See you in the next videos.